Welcome to the Classy Career Girl podcast. I'm your host, Anna Runyon, founder and CEO of Classy Career Girl, one of Forbes' most influential career sites. This is a podcast for a community of women who want to turn their passions into work they love. You'll learn how to become happy, successful, and balanced with class, skill, and style. We believe that you can create your future. So stop delaying your great life. Go put yourself out there. You can have your great life and career right now. Hey there, it's Anna. Welcome to today's episode of the Classy Career Girl podcast. Today, we are talking about how to communicate with a virtual team. So this is a question that I have been getting a lot because lately with the pandemic, we're about, 4 months into COVID-19 and a lot of people have had to transition their work into virtual teams. So maybe you used to have a team and you used to meet in person, but now you have to do your communication virtually. Maybe you're looking for other ways to improve your virtual communication, improve the efficiency of it, and to get some better systems. And so I've had a virtual company for many years now. So there really hasn't been that much change in our team communication due to this pandemic. And I think that's why I'm getting a lot of questions. And I feel like we've really gotten our systems down, and it's not all been super easy to get those systems down. But I would love to share with you today our communication systems for our team. And I think this is going to be helpful for you if you work for a virtual team, or you run a company that has to be virtual right now, or even if you are a person and you have an in-person team, but there's still some aspects of your work that could be moved virtually, or you could improve your communication systems to increase your efficiency. So first, I want to tell you, I have not always had very good systems when it comes to communication. I want to tell you kind of a funny story. So many years ago, when my husband and I got started with our company, we only had one other person that was helping us, and her name is Laura, and she is in the Philippines. And so obviously, John and I, we worked together from our house. And I was trying to become a better leader at that time because I knew that my business would grow, but only if I had better communication with my team. So that was me, my husband, and now better communication with Laura as well. Because at that point, she was really the only person on our team. It was just the three of us. And we were still really just communicating virtually through tasks on our project management tool. We never did any sort of Skype or Google Hangout or Zoom wasn't even around back then. Anything for years. We just communicated through written communication because she works in the evening when I sleep, and then I work during the day, so it was very hard for us to hold regular meetings when I was just getting started. It was really hard for me because I didn't have the time and I was still working a day job. And so then my first daughter was born. So it was just really hard for us to connect and actually hold regular meetings. But there was a new year that had just started, and one of my goals was to be a better manager and to improve the communication on my team. So I decided that we're going to be a real business now, and I'm going to hold team meetings and be a better manager. And so I told her we're going to start having monthly team meetings with me and John and Laura. And so I go to Laura, and she's listening to this because she helps me edit the podcast. So if you're listening, Laura, I hope you don't mind me sharing this story. But I told Laura that we're going to have these meetings. And I told her the time that we're going to meet. And, at that time we had that meeting and she showed up. And I'll never forget, Laura, that you were so nervous because she thought she thought we were about to announce something really bad. Like maybe she didn't think we were continuing with our agreement, right? Like it was like the first of the year, but I'll never forget how nervous that she was when she got on there from our first formal meeting, and she was really scared. So that's really my example of what not to do, how not to communicate with your team when they don't even, I didn't even share an agenda. I didn't even tell her what we're going to talk about. And so she came to the meeting just nervous and scared about what I was going to even say. That's how I started with my communication for my team. And that's not what you're going to do, because you're going to learn some secrets today that I have learned, some systems that you can set up on your team in your business that's going to help you so that you can all feel comfortable and feel like your team doesn't have to show up nervous and scared. So I know that this is really hard because we're all busy, but one of my first recommendations for you for improving your team communication is to hold weekly virtual meetings. So your business is going to grow and your communication is going to improve when you communicate with your team weekly. And I know we're busy. I know this is hard. I know for us, this is hard because we have our kids home and sometimes they want to be in on the meetings and they like to distract us during the meetings. And so it's difficult to hold these virtual meetings, especially when you're working from home. But it's been so helpful for us to have these weekly meetings. And this is when everyone can get on the same page. This is where friendships are made. This is where we can update each other, especially with this pandemic going on. We can update and make sure everyone is healthy on our team and everyone's family is doing okay. And we can kind of just share in our misery of our life right now and all of the changes and things that are happening with our kids and school. And so it really helps us that the team can be on the same page. The team can then save a lot of issues. There's sometimes like some big overarching issues that we really need to talk through. And so we have that standing meeting every single week and we can talk through those things. I can answer questions in person because sometimes when I just write answers, sometimes I don't write very well thought out answers, and sometimes I confuse even more. And so that's an opportunity. So if someone on the team got an assignment from me, that's an opportunity for them to ask any questions that they have about it, instead of interrupting with a bunch of questions all week long. And so we use Zoom for this. So you can do this for free using Zoom if you're just getting started. I think you can do 40 minutes if you have more than 2 people on Zoom, or if there's just 2 of you, then it's an unlimited time that you can use on Zoom. I have a paid account at Zoom because I use Zoom a lot for my business with my clients and our members and our membership site. So I definitely recommend upgrading to the paid version if you need it for a larger group of people. So I do know that this is hard because we're all busy, but your career and your business is going to start growing and your communication is going to start to improve when your whole team can communicate with each other. And what I didn't realize when I was communicating with everyone on the team for many years is that it was just me privately sending all these messages to other people and sending all these emails to individuals on my team. But when I got everyone on the same page, that's when real partnerships and exciting opportunities really happened because they could coordinate better with each other. So I was the point person, tasking all these everyone on the team individually, but when we all finally came together, that's when the magic happened, because then maybe there was a question that one person had, well then the whole team could hear, or maybe there was things that I didn't know how to do, but other people on the team knew how to do and could answer questions better. And so it's just a half hour once a week where people can ask me questions and they can communicate with each other as well. And that way I'm not interrupted all week long with Facebook messages and emails that I have to get back to from the team because they save their issues for those team meetings. So that's why it's really batching. I talk a lot about batching your time, doing like activities at the same time every week. So this is that half hour where I'm really batching a lot of decisions that I need to make and all of the to-do list items and discussions that we need to have for that half hour once a week to have discussions around those things. So like I said, you can do this for free on Zoom. You can have a ton of people from around the world on Zoom for 40 minutes. I think it cuts you off after 40 minutes, but 40 minutes is all you need. 30 minutes should be all you need. They should be short and sweet. And so it should not last over 40 minutes, and it really gives a sense of community. So now our team is getting to know each other. We're friends. There's a way that we can bond over things that are happening, and it just gives a really great sense of camaraderie when the team can get together even though we can't see each other in person. So we're helping each other, we're learning together, we're laughing together, and it's really just a really fun place to be and a really neat thing about having a virtual team. So we're not all in the same place. We're all over the world, we're international, but we've created that time just to be consistent holding those weekly meetings. So your business will grow when you start doing this, when you really start communicating with your team and you all get on the same page. Even if you just have one other person on your team, I highly recommend these standing meetings. We also try to have monthly meetings and quarterly meetings and annual planning meetings as well. So that's a little bit more advanced, but just to let you in on what I try and do as well. But we do have bigger monthly meetings where we set goals. We have bigger quarterly planning meetings. So we set like our 90-day planning goals and we use my 90-day planning system. And then every year as well, we have an annual planning meeting where we really talk about what our plan is for the next year. So that's my first tip for you. The second tip for you is that I recommend that people on your team, you ask them to send you an end of day report. And if you have your employees send you this every day, it's really going to help improve communication because it's going to help answer questions quicker. So the three questions that we recommend that you put in your end of day, that your team puts in their end of day report is number one, what did you do that day? Number two, what problems did you run into? And number three, what can I do to make your job easier? So this way, we started this because Laura's in the Philippines, and so she'd work in the evening, and then when I woke up, she would send this report so I could kind of tell what she did while I was sleeping, and kind of get caught up if she needed anything very quickly. And so this is going to really help your team communicate with you because you're asking them really important questions. They're going to tell you what they did that day, any problems. Sometimes people who are working for you can be afraid to tell you what problems they have, right? Like, they want it all to be positive and great, but sometimes there's problems that come up. And so you want to welcome those problems. You don't want to welcome problems, but you want to welcome knowing about the problems, right? Because you probably have something that can fix it. And so the third question, what can I do to make your job easier? We want to make things easier for our employees. We don't want them stuck on something and wasting hours and hours trying to fix something. So these questions are for someone who's working daily for you, who's putting in a lot of work. So this is something we would have her send an email with the answers to these questions every single day. It's a very quick thing. I could look at it in the morning. I can kind of quickly scan and see what's getting done and how I can support her better. Another thing that we have done recently is that instead of the end of day report, we've also been experimenting with a beginning of the day report. And I really like this. So on the beginning, right when she starts work, she'll send us a message on Slack, which I'll talk about later. She'll send us a message saying what she's going to get done that day. And that helps her prioritize like what the most important things are for her to get done. Sometimes there's little things, in her day that she needs help from me to do. And so that makes sure, like, I usually get her beginning of day report before I go to sleep at night. So if there's something that I need to help her with, I can do that before I go to sleep. And then she'll follow up at the end of the day and just kind of tell me what she was able to finish as well. And so there's a lot of things that we can help do to make their jobs easier and to help answer questions. And so that's the most important part about this. So your goal is to make their job easier. So I would either do that by the end of day report or the beginning of day report, just helping your employees prioritize with the beginning of the day report, or at the end of the day report, you're just making sure that they didn't have any problems and that they're communicating to you so you can do what you need to make their job easier. Now, the third thing that I recommend is limiting emails back and forth. Who loves emails? Not me. I am the worst at managing my email and responding. I'm sorry if you have written me an email, you're probably still waiting for a response. So, this is something I've implemented on my team. So, our team does not email back and forth. That's something we don't do. Instead, we use a project management system. So, here at Classy Career Girl, the only way we communicate back and forth is through Asana and Slack. So, first, I'm going to talk about Asana. So, all communication happens underneath each task in Asana. So, we can keep track of communication associated with each task. And that is why I love Asana. It's totally free. I think as long as you have under 10 employees, it is free to use and I love it. I've been using it for years for our team. And what I love about it is you can create projects. So, say you're doing a big website update, well, you can create a project for that website update. So, all your tasks are in that project and you can track the completion and you can assign people to those tasks. And then you can communicate based on that task. So, I can communicate within that task about that task. So instead of sending me an email and getting emails about a million different things, I can keep all the communication about that task in one place. And that just makes life so much easier. So, I highly recommend limiting emails back and forth from your team and using a project management tool like Asana instead. So, besides that end of day report, the only way we're really communicating back and forth on our team is through Asana or Slack, like I said. So, Asana is where we talk about tasks. It's where we assign tasks to each other and deliverables and due dates, and we attach files into that task as well. So all the communication back and forth about a task happens in the comments underneath that task. If it's done through email, then that can get really confusing. So even if there are emails associated with the task, you can actually email them into Asana. That's what I do. So if there's an email that needs to be a task, because how many times does someone email you and it's actually something that you need to do? So for me, that means it needs to get into Asana. If it's something that needs to happen, I need to get it into Asana because that's where I track everything that needs to be completed. So with all the replies back and forth, it's hard to keep track by email about certain tasks. Where was that PDF? Where is that image? What did you say about that? It was in one of those emails. Have you ever had that? So instead, we email those tasks just to Asana. And then there's an inbox in your Asana so you can check and you can see what tasks your employees are working on. You can communicate back and forth if people have questions about those tasks. And you can see when someone has completed something. You can see when someone has uploaded a file with that task in your inbox. And so every day I'll check my inbox in Asana. I check my inbox in Asana way more than my email inbox to see what updates were made on the tasks that I'm working on. So I can't say enough good things about Asana. I really, really love using Asana for our team. And like I said, best of all, it's free. So then there's daily communication. So, my fourth tip for you is to communicate daily in some way. So, I have done this in two ways. The first way I've done this is through Facebook group only for people who work on my team. The other way I have done this is through a Slack channel. So, Slack is also another free tech tool that you can use that is private only for people who are working for your company. And this will allow you to share important announcements and to help each other, get to know each other, become better friends, share what's going on, share maybe you're sick and you want the team to know some way where you can, as a team, communicate with each other. So, Slack is a great tool to use for communicating and chatting quickly with your team. You can also use Loom. That is how you can record quick videos to send to your team. So sometimes we've done that and we've shared them in Slack or we've shared them in Asana if you want to record a video. But we no longer actually use our working Facebook group for our team anymore. We've moved over to Slack now. And so Slack is now where our daily communication is for our team. That's where the end of day report goes. That's where the beginning of day report goes. That's where if I have an important announcement, like yesterday, we had some issues with our website. And so that's where we'll update the team so everyone knows and everyone's on the same page. And our entire team is working all day because we have an international team. So there's people working in my evening and I'm working during the day and I have kids during the day. So sometimes I'm working at night. And so it's nice because everyone can update on Slack whenever they're working and we can communicate back and forth. It's almost like a quick text message as well. Like you can have it pop up on your phone. And so you can like say I'm out and about with the kids. If someone on my team has a question, I can answer their question right away so that they can keep moving forward with their tasks. Now, I do have to warn you about Slack because I have seen Slack used not in the best way. So, Slack should never be used for tasks. Remember how I said all of your projects and your tasks should go on Asana. Now, when it comes to communicating about tasks, you want to make sure that's done on Asana. What Slack is that daily quick check update. So it's a quick, hey, can you check this link? Or I can't find this. Or what should I respond to this email that came in? Or did you guys see this? Or here's an important announcement. Here's some wins of our members. Or I'm sick today. Or can you review this real quick? Like very quick, short and sweet, uh, quick daily updates or quick daily responses, quick questions. Now, where I've seen it gone wrong is when Slack is used to assign people things, or I need you to do this, Anna. That needs to go in Asana. So no assigning any sort of tasks, even if if there's a task in Asana and you start communicating in Slack about that task and about that project, all that really should be done in Asana. So that is where I have seen it go wrong because Slack is very quick. It's quick, it's quick, it's quick. So it's not going to actually save. I mean, I think it does save for a certain number of days what you said 10 days ago or 15 days ago, but I'm never going to look back in time. Like, I'm never going to look and see what did I post there, 2 months ago, or I'm never going to like attach files in Slack either. All that should be done in Asana. Asana is where you want to have this library of a place that is all the communication about that task and all the files about that task. And then Slack is just the quick things that you won't need tomorrow, basically. You're not going to need to look at that in a week from now because that was just a quick question and then you can get it resolved and you can move forward. So, those are my tips for you. I would love to see you create a structure for communicating with your team, for using one of these tools. See how it works. I want you to take action. I want you to try something new that's going to help improve the communication with your team. So, my tasks for you are to ask you, like, what of the tools I mentioned, what project management tool are you going to use to communicate with your team? Like, what is one thing that you can do to help improve the systems of communication on your team? And then what steps can you take to decrease the emails that land in your inbox from your team? So if you and your team are communicating through email, I highly recommend you reevaluate that because that's probably slowing you down. And also ask yourself, what steps are you going to take to create a better communication structure for your team? So not only can you help them and support your team better through this communication structure, but they're also going to report back to you on a more frequent basis. So you know what problems are coming up and you can help them solve it. Overall, that is going to help improve the communication and help you improve the structure of your team, which is going to lead to a lot of great things for your company. So thank you for listening today. Please let me know what you thought. Please share that you have listened to this on Instagram, on your stories. Tag me at Classy Career Girl so I can reshare and support you as well. We appreciate you listening, and we appreciate all the reviews that are coming up in iTunes as well. I love reading those. So thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time. Hey there, it's Anna Runyon, and I would like to invite you to my upcoming free masterclass called How to Plan, Design, and Launch Your Dream Career or Business Without Wasting Time or Money. I'm going to go over 3 simple strategies to go from feeling stuck at work to waking up excited every single Monday. So you can save your seat at www.classycareergirl.com/masterclass.